Hey guys, Chris from the Package Deal. Today I'm going to be profiling my super budget Pink Kids deck. I got everything here bar one card for under £25, so about $30. If you take away the side deck and cut out one of the extra deck cards, you're looking at about £20 at the most, so about $25. Maybe even less in all honesty, because I did get stuff in a bit higher rarity than I should have. So yeah, this is insanely budget. If you have like £20 and you want a full 40, 15, I think this is the deck for you, and it is kind of fun to use, so that's what you guys about, right? So let's start. We have got the 12 Prank Kids, because we're not in a luxurious position to drop less than 12. The Roxy's is what I'm talking about, because it is by far the weakest Prank Kid. Not in terms of stats, but in terms of effect and usefulness, because it doesn't make Battle Butler. But you have to play 12, it's non-negotiable. I'm not going to run through what their effects do, because everyone should know what they do by now, but if not, just go watch a combo video on it, you'll soon know what they do. The Sangan engine of 3 Sangan and 3 Parallel Exceed. I'll talk about why you play this card, so to get the relevant extra deck cards out. So what you're meant to do is, because there's no normal summons in this deck anymore, so this is just a wee weird thing that I found. If you normal summon the Sangan and link it off for the Salamangreat Almirage and activate a Sangan's effect to add a Prank Kid, so we've got anything but Roxy's, like that's important, it cannot be Roxy, so I'll add Fancies. And then you have the Parallel Exceed in your hand, so you've special summoned a link, so you'll go Parallel Exceed effects, overlay into Gallant Granite, ditch Gallant Granite to search for the Roxy's. So off 2 cards you went +2, and hopefully you have the polymerization to keep going, but that's how you get 2 Prank Kids into your hand. It's nothing groundbreaking or anything, it's just a fun wee thing I find looking around cards, because I think Sangan is a really good card. Underused. You could play Tour Guide if you want, and instead of going into Almirage you can go into Cross Sheet, but that just gets really punished by like any hand traps, so I wouldn't advise it in all honesty. But that's the Sangan / Parallel Exceed package. These obviously have uses outside of one another. Sangan not as much with Parallel Exceed, you play a lot of links, so he becomes live pretty quickly. And then lastly for the monsters, 1 420 man, just to search the polymerization. I just needed a 40th card, so that's what I landed on. Onto the spells, we have 3 Prank Kids Pranks. Best field spell, you need your field spells to do what Prank does now. 3 Pandemonium, and weirdly 3 Pranks, because you don't have the normal summon anymore, the 1 card combos, and you're not always guaranteed to draw a fusion spell. You need this, so this plus a Prank Kid, or 2 Prank Kids, sorry, ditch a Prank Kid, special summon token, normal summon Prank Kid, and you can sort of make some sort of board off it. So I think 3 is incredibly necessary, and it allows you just to keep going when you usually can't. So that's the Prank Kids spells. And the non-Prank Kids cards are 3 Polymerization, because you have to play. It's actually the best card in the deck now, because it doesn't lock you into Prank Kids cards, and you really do need it to do absolutely anything in this deck, anything of note. 2 Pot of Desires, because it's at 2. If you could play 3, you play 3. Everything in this deck is at 3, so you have to be pretty unlucky to lose to a blind Pot of Desires, but usually you get some Prank Kids out of your deck and then you activate Pot of Desires just to draw into more cards. 1 Terraforming for the Prank Kids Pranks. 1 Set Rotation also for the Prank Kids Pranks, but in case you don't draw a polymerization, you know, these 2 cards can become it. So you're basically just bumping up your polymerization count, because you need to play as many polymerizations as you can. So that's that. And lastly for the spells, 1 Instant Fusion, because it's Soul Charge in the deck. You have to play. This is the card I'm talking about to sort of bump the price up. If you got a common for this, you definitely would be sitting under $20, absolutely. And lastly, 3 Prank Kids Plan, sorry. Not the best card in all honesty, but it is just a super budget deck. You could swap this about with some cards in the side deck if you want. but I don't think this is horrible. It's a good send off fancies, obviously, and you can still keep going on your opponent's turn. So it's not terrible. It isn't terrible. On to the extra deck. Not in order, so whatever. Amirage and Gallant Granite, as we were just talking about. Prank Kids, this thing, it's not in order at all, so bear with me. So 3 rockets, because it's best card. In all honesty, it's Soul Charge, and it's the first fusion that you make, and the other fusions are the Weather Washer and Battle Butler. Battle Butler, you could bump this up to 2 because it's a really cheap card now, but it never comes up if you play 1,000,000 copies of Plan and Pranks, so you can recycle it very, very easily. And then for the links, we'll start with the big boy. This actually comes out a decent wee bit against like Elvic and whatnot, but it's the big boss monster you can make on with Plan on your opponent's turn. Cock a doodle doo. 3 of, obviously, because it's the best link. 1 Bow Wow Bark, very rarely comes up in the pure deck, but it's still pretty decent. It pumps up all your guys. Then the non-Prank Kids cards, we've got Cross Sheep. Comes up sometimes on the weird little hands that you have. This is actually pretty decent, and of course there's a link, so it just gives you extra zones. 1 Levier the Sea Dragon, because you can banish stuff off the Roxy's and add it back, or special on the back, which is not terrible, but whatever. And 1 Totally Awesome, that's the card I'm talking about, the extra deck card. It's really expensive. This is the lowest rarity of it, and you're still talking about 10 to 15 pounds because of Splight. But this card is really necessary because polymerization plus 2 Prank Kids, you end on this, and it's your only sort of negate or slash unfair card. And for the side deck, 3 Veiler, because it's the cheapest hand drop. It's also pretty decent, it's just budget imperm. It's really good, this format. I think it hits a lot of stuff, especially like in like tier elements. Ghost Ogre, this card is really good. I've seen it getting used against the Gigantic Sprite, and that seems pretty strong, but it's also a cheap hand trap. 2 Book of Moon, it's just a decent little card for going first or going second. 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, because Cosmic and Twin Twisters are just not cheap enough for a budget build. 1 Red Reboot, you can get this in a common, and it just shuts off all these annoying little back row decks. And lastly, 3 Solemn Judgment, because God says no. This card is cheap in its common form, and it is an insanely powerful card, and 1 token. So you guys, this is my sort of spare deck that I give to any kids that want to play, or as I say, I did have it, and obviously the Prank Kids Meow Meow got banned, so what can you do? So that's the deck, guys. Let me know what you think. Comment and subscribe. Check out the rest of our stuff. Peace out.